Hello everyone. Today's presentation is going to be about something that I feel very strongly about, and that is troubleshooting. Now, troubleshooting is your ability to figure out a problem. When something's wrong, it's your ability to really dive into it and figure out how to fix it. And it might not just be a problem, but it might be something that you want to do, something that you want to figure out. This can apply to working with technology, working with a computer, your cell phone. It can apply to a funny noise under your kitchen sink. But troubleshooting is a very, very good skill to learn, and I'm going to go over some ways that we can go about troubleshooting. So here's the four main parts that I'm going to go over in more detail throughout. The first step is don't be afraid. Troubleshooting can be intimidating at first. Technology is scary, lots of buttons and switches, and everybody else seems to know how to work it better than I do. But all it really takes to learn is just to not be afraid that you're going to break it. A lot of people are afraid of technology because they think they're going to press the wrong thing and your computer's going to start on fire, or you're going to delete all your files. And let me tell you that nobody can teach you how to become better at technology. You could take a class, you can watch YouTube videos, but things change, versions change, stuff updates. And at the end of the day, the only way to truly learn is to not be afraid of it, to press the button that you don't know what it does, to open the menus and poke around and see what stuff does. So if you don't take anything else away from this presentation, it's that I really don't want anyone to be afraid of technology. You'll notice once you start working with technology that everything isn't so different from everything else. A lot of things are similar to one another. A lot of buttons and switches look similar. They follow similar guidelines. So if you'll see on the left we have a gear, and that's the settings menu. And the settings menu, the settings icon is going to look pretty similar whether it's on your iPhone or your Android phone or your Mac or your PC or your car stereo. The gear is pretty unanimously associated with settings. And then you've got a trash can for delete. That one's pretty self-explanatory. But these icons and these logos are pretty similar. So if you're like, man, I really want to change the settings on my texting app, I want to make the background blue instead of red, look for the gear, look for the settings icon. Here's two icons that don't have names below them, but most of you can probably figure out what they mean. Clearly the one on the left is a shopping cart, and the plus symbol makes me think I'm going to be adding something to my shopping cart. Now the one on the right, for anybody who has a cell phone or has ever noticed in the top right corner of the screen, it means Wi-Fi. So if you're on your laptop and you see that logo, that's usually where you can go to enter your Wi-Fi password or change networks or see if there's a line through it that might mean your connection's not working. So as you go, as you learn, and as you make sure that you're not afraid, you're going to pick things up and things are going to start to look familiar even if you're on a brand new device or looking at a brand new app. So the second thing you can do is eliminate the easy stuff, okay? So is your app stuck? Well, restart your phone. Is your computer frozen? Restart it. If the keys aren't responding, press the power button. Press and hold it. Press and hold it for 30 seconds maybe. Try different things to see if you can restart it. If you can't log in somewhere, check your username and password. It seems obvious, but more often than not, myself and everyone I've talked to has entered their password or username incorrect, even if they're sure it's right. It's not. One letter's off. And what you can do is press the eyeball and the open eye, and it'll reveal your password. So if your password has all asterisks, a lot of times you'll see one of these logos on the right, and you can click it to reveal your password. And if you see this, that means that your password's being hidden right now. So double check your login credentials. If you see on the right the logo of the triangle with the line through it, that usually means cell phone network. So if you see that line, it usually means you're in a basement or you're somewhere where you don't have cell signal. So if your internet's not working, look for the icons. And a lot of you may already know this. This might be obvious and easy, but for those of you who are new to technology or who are struggling a little bit, just know that these symbols are the same. And once you start to know them, it'll start to be easier when you pick up a new device. Okay, one of the most important steps is to Google it. Cannot stress enough how often people use Google in the technology world. We look things up all the time. I don't know how to do everything in Word or everything in PowerPoint. I have to look it up a lot of times. So I'll say, how do I add a photo in PowerPoint? Go to Google. How do I add a footer to Word? How do I put numbers in the bottom right corner? Most people don't know that. Unless they've done it recently, they don't know how to do that. A lot of people don't have the knowledge of how to do everything within Word. But when I need to put numbers in the bottom right hand of a page, I go to Google and say, add numbers to my page in Word. And then I follow the instructions for how to do it. So Google. Go on the internet and look it up. If you can't find it on Google, check YouTube. A lot of times Google will lead you to YouTube, but sometimes you can go to YouTube, and if you want to figure out how to change a setting on your computer and Google's not giving you any results, or Google's just trying to point you to a page where you can buy an iPhone, check YouTube. And a lot of times somebody out there has done the tutorial. Google is great because it makes it so that people don't have to duplicate efforts. Somebody out there has probably had this problem before, and they've probably documented it on the internet. They've probably asked for help and somebody's helped them. So why waste the effort? Just check Google, and a lot of times you'll find the answer. So here's some basic Google techniques. Go to Google and just type your question as is, as if you're talking to a person. How do I add images to my PowerPoint presentation? And more often than not, Google knows exactly what you want, and you're going to find a page that makes it easy, or you're going to find a YouTube video that makes it easy. You can also use keywords. So add images PowerPoint is probably going to give you the same results with less typing. If things aren't working out or you're not finding what you want, try changing the keywords around. Some advanced Google techniques are you can use quotations if you want an exact match. So what that means is that a lot of times Google doesn't care about the order the words are in. So you can mix and match the words and you're going to have the same results. By putting something in quotes, it tells Google that you want this exact search. So for instance, if you're trying to fix something on your iPhone and you have an old iPhone, you might have to put in quotes the exact model number, or else Google might tell you the instructions for a different iPhone. So this question here, the quotes mean, I want specifically the iPhone SE 2nd generation. Now, a hyphen is also a powerful search engine tool with Google because you can use it to remove results you don't want. So I do not have a Pinterest account, or not one that I've used in quite a while. So usually I don't want Pinterest results because I click on a link and it takes me to another link and then it asks me to log in. So when I Google something, recipe for beef stew, I'll usually put minus Pinterest because I don't want to see those results. So if you're stuck and Google keeps showing you search results for something that's not exactly what you want, there's something else that's more popular, go ahead and put a minus and put the word in there and see if that helps. And again, these are advanced techniques. Most of the time, the basic techniques are going to get you where you need to be. So we're going to go over a few basic Google techniques here. Give you a little hint here is if you want to learn more about how to use Google and you really haven't used it much, you can go to Google and search how to use Google. And the top search result is a video on how to use basic Google searches. So that could be your first tutorial if you're really new to Google. Now, some other things that Google has is you can search by just images. So if I click this tab, boom, all pictures of beef stew. Or you could do golden retrievers. Just pictures of golden retrievers. And you can search for things like shopping, video, news, books, maps, all these different things. But generally, I usually use all or images. A couple other useful features, though, is you can go over to your tools here, and you can change let's go to all here. You can change the time frame that you want to search. Anytime, past year, so you can specify. So let's say that you're looking up some news article or something and all you're getting is stuff from 2017 or 2015. Well, you can change this to the past year and it's going to give you only things that came out in the last year. So that's also very powerful if you're trying to narrow down exactly what you want to search. So I'm going to change this back to anytime. And let's look for how to change the background on my iPhone. So we'll do change background. And instead of just doing any iPhone, I want to use my specific iPhone. So I'm going to put it in quotes, iPhone SE second generation. Put that in quotes. And at the very top, we have Apple iPhone SE second generation. And here's exactly how to change your wallpaper. So that's why the quote feature is so powerful, is it lets you really kind of narrow down specifically what you want. If I just type in, let's see what happens. If I remove the quotes, it may still bring us to the same result. It does in this case, but sometimes it'll just bring you to something else, maybe a generic iPhone or an old iPhone that doesn't work anymore. So it's good to use quotes if you want to be very specific. Now the final trick I'm going to show is where you can use the hyphen or the minus. And this lets you eliminate things from your searches. It can help you eliminate keywords or eliminate websites you don't want to see. So let's look up beef stew recipe. Okay, so here's all of our beef stew recipes. But let's say that I don't want a beef stew recipe from the New York Times, which is the top result. So I'm going to do minus NY Times. And there we go. Same search, but all the New York Times references are gone. Now let's see. What are some ingredients we see here? We've got beef, we've got ground pepper, sweet onion, but I don't know, I hate onions. So let's go ahead and do minus onion. Here we go. Beef stew recipes without onions. So that is the power of the hyphen or the minus sign when doing your search results. Really helps you narrow down what you're looking for. So if you combine the hyphens with some quotes, and you want to go to your tools and you want to specify by time, you can really narrow your searches down. You might not always need this, but it's nice to know that it's an option, that it's something that's available. So the final step, if none of the other steps helped you, is to ask for help, but be descriptive. This is important because it saves a lot of time by both parties. So the one thing that you want to try to avoid is real simple basic statements like my internet's broken or something's not working. Try to be very descriptive. Also, don't bother trying to diagnose it. So just tell the person you're asking for help the symptoms. Because if you say my internet's not working, and what you really mean is that you can't log into your email, the person trying to help might be trying to figure out why your internet's not working. And that might not be the case. Your internet might be working fine. So just try to describe the symptoms that are leading to you needing to ask for help. Here's some examples. You're at your mechanic, you're going to be descriptive, and you're going to tell them, my check engine light came on last night, and then my car started making a banging noise when I'm stopped. Mechanic's going to be able to help you out. If you just tell him my car is broken, he's going to stare at you and say, well, what do you mean? If you're at the doctor, you're going to describe your symptoms. You're going to tell them what's been happening. Tell them the medicine you took and why it didn't work. If you say, I don't feel good, they're going to have to ask you a lot of questions, and there's going to be a lot of back and forth, which when you're at your doctor's office might not be a big deal, but if you're trying to talk to someone over email or you're trying to get that report done, it's going to take a lot longer. And finally, at work, I was trying to log into my email, but saying password incorrect. Tried it on my computer and my iPad. Well, that's going to tell the person helping you that maybe something is wrong. Maybe something's wrong on the back end. Maybe they need to check and see if your password got reset by accident. It's going to save a lot of time and effort in both directions. So just to go over it again, our roadmap is you can't be afraid. You have to try. You have to click the buttons and you have to try. Something that I've said before is that if somebody reaches out for help and they tell me what they've done and they tell me what they've tried and maybe they made it worse. Maybe they deleted something or moved something or changed a setting they didn't want. Well, most of the time we can fix it. We can get it back. I'd rather you try. I'd rather that you try because that's how you learn. And that's how you get better. And so I like to hear, I tried this and it didn't work. I Googled it, couldn't find anything. So what do you got? And then we're starting in the last leg of the race, and we're going to finish quick. We're not going to have to go over all the real basic stuff, so just don't be afraid. Eliminate the easy stuff and Google it. Google it's going to solve your problem most of the time. And then be descriptive when you ask for help. And that's really all troubleshooting comes down to. But if you do these things, you're going to enjoy learning technology, and you're going to learn things quicker, and you're going to save time, and it's going to be good all around. And not just when you're at your computer. So I made a troubleshooting guide that you guys can download if you want to scan this QR code. And that just goes over a quick summary of all the stuff we talked about. And might be good to print out and keep next to your desk next time you get stuck and you're frustrated and you got to get something done. Take a look at the list and follow the steps. Might help out. All right, guys. Thanks for attending the presentation. And make sure you check out the form.